32-minute animated film based on Charlie Mackesy's 2019 award-winning children's book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And this is an allegorical tale about being existentially lost in the cold world, cut off from ourselves and others, and being alienated. I would suggest that if you are looking for something wonderful to watch, it's good for families with children. It's got deeply spiritual messages in it. Very Buddhist in orientation, but it's really nice. There's just a wonderful message. And there isn't enough of that stuff on TV in general. So please do try and watch The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. It's available on Apple TV. It's about 32 minutes. I think it's well worth it. If you have kids, that's something to watch together to provoke some conversations around life and, values and ethics. And kids also have a hard time growing up, and it sort of works them through some of those life lessons. So the messages of the book are really powerful. And if you've been to our Wednesday night or Thursday morning meditation class, you've heard us do this a lot. That home, we're safe at home with our body in our breath. And the message of this book really is all about home is a state of mind, and it's not a place. It's wherever you are, wherever your heart is open, that's where home is. And then also, you're enough just as you are. And we've talked about this a lot in our Lotus Sutra lectures, that you're okay. You are enough just as you are. The Buddha nature is within you already. It is your birthright. It's in everything. And if you open your heart mind to it, you become one with the whole world. As Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say, we're all inter-are. We're all inter-being. None of us are alone. Being alone, feeling alone is just, it's an illusion. It's not real. We are all interconnected. And that our purpose in life, and this is really it's about love, that we're here particularly as bodhisattvas, we're here to be loved and to be kind. And so the movie starts off with a little boy walking in the snow, and then he stops and he sits down in the snow, and out from the earth pops up this mole. And he's, allegorically, he's like a bodhisattva of the earth. And he's popping up out of the earth, and he looks at the little boy and he goes, well, hello. And the boy goes, hello. And then the mole says, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm lost. And then the mole says, well, let me help you, let's go find something. And then they sit up on a tree. And as they're sitting up on a tree, and they're looking out over the vista, and there's this gorgeous watercolor background, beautiful. The mole says to the boy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the boy goes, I want to be kind. And the mole says, well, that's a pretty amazing thing. That's kindness is at the center of everything. And the story just proceeds from that amazing place. So, and then the boy realizes that he's not alone. He's got this horse and this fox and this mole, and the fox represents his anger, the world of animality and the world of fighting demons, and then the horse represents the world of gods. And then they get together and they lead the boy back to a village, and the boy then looks at the village, which is all warm and bright and lit up, and he thinks, well, I'm home. And he says, I gotta go. And he says goodbye to his friends, and then he starts to walk, and he turns around, he looks at his friends and goes, I'm not leaving. You're my friends. The fact that we love each other, that's everything. We're all interconnected. And he realizes he integrates himself with all these aspects of himself, and he realizes that I am home already. I'm home in my love, and I'm home in my interconnection for all beings. And it's such a powerful message. And I'd like to connect this with the three great secret dharmas, or as we say in Japanese, Sandai Hiho, the three great secret dharmas. And I'd like to offer a different translation of Sandai Hiho for the purposes of this talk. It's the three wondrous, sublime, transcendent states. And Homon no Kaidan is home. It's wherever you are when your heart mind is open and you're feeling fully integrated with all the different sides of your personality, and you're fully aware of how you're connected to everything else, fully liberated and fully engaged. When you're home, that's the Kaidan. That is the place, the platform. And the Homon no Honzon is everything. It's not just the Gohonzon, this mandala scroll that Nichiren inscribed and gave to his disciples. The Gohonzon, and this is why sometimes when we first become Buddhists, particularly depending on what school that we've been in, and by the way, Honzon means focus of devotion. Go is an honorific, so it's the great focus of devotion. Honzon is sort of a generic term for this focus of devotion. Zen believers have a focus of devotion. All Buddhists have this. Christians have it, et cetera, et cetera. So it just represents for our faith, for your faith, for their faith, where is your attention centered? Where are you trying to practice bringing it back? And a lot of times we think that I need to have this scroll to be complete in my practice. And the message that really comes forward in these three wondrous, sublime, transcendent states is that the Gohonzon isn't really that scroll. It's not this piece of paper. It's what's in your heart mind. It's the whole world. It's when you're walking outside in nature and you feel so connected to everything else. It's when you're sitting with someone that you love, whether it's a companion, a partner, a friend, a loved one, a pet, and you feel that deep sense of connection and love. That's the Gohonzon. So that's your focus of devotion. And it happens to just be beautifully expressed and rendered in this mandala. But this mandala is not a prerequisite for you to have a Gohonzon. The Gohonzon is in your heart. The Gohonzon is looking out at everything else. And Homon no Daimoku, the sacred title, this isn't just NamMyohoRengeKyo. This is our actions in the world. This is how we conduct ourselves. This is the provisional truth of the three truths. This is the provisional truth of our arising, our manifesting of all these causes and conditions, how we're all interconnected, interbeing, inter-are. None of us exist independently as permanent things. We only exist as this confluence of all these different factors that have led us to this point. So the Daimoku, the Homon no Daimoku, this is our action. This is our practice. Not only when we're in front of our sacred space, chanting, but it's walking about, being in the world, being mindful, trying to live a virtuous life, living with the Eightfold Path, living with the Six Perfections. And formally, it is the voice of the Buddha that continues to be present, and it's never ended. There's no beginning, there's no ending. The voice of the Buddha is always resonant in the entire world. And when you open your heart, mind, and you kind of feel that vibration that exists everywhere, that's the Daimoku. And home is where you are open, and the Honzon is where everything is around us, and the Daimoku is that vibration in the world that exists all the time. So I'm going to read just two very short excerpts. The book is not out yet. It's forthcoming. It will be coming soon. And he says, Nichiren was interested in the power of words and sacred symbols, the wish-granting jewel, myo, and how to structurally harmonize what Nichiren himself was awakened to. How would he render the Bon Joso, or Bon Non Jo, which means the pure and far-reaching voice of the Buddha, which is the 32nd physical feature of the Buddha? How to do this was critical in the foundational concept of inscribing this mandala Gohonzon, which is truly a piece of art. And this method of visualization is particularly relevant because instead of the typical static grouping of statues called butsuga, or imagery, this calligraphy of these ideograms, and I guess if I can get to the Gohonzon and blow it up a little bit, you'll notice that he uses these very elongated characters. And I know this is really hard to see, but you can see that down the middle, NamMyohoRengeKyo, and they have these beautiful long strokes. His calligraphy is very flowing, and these lines from the center tower of NamMyohoRengeKyo will radiate out like rays of light into the whole Gohonzon itself as a motif. And those spikes that he draws are called komyo, which are rays of light. And these represent the Buddha's voice, enabling the devotee to be projected inside the mythological ceremony in the air, which is described in the Lotus Sutra. Listening to Shakyamuni and participating with all those figures present at the event, the ceremony in the air. In Nichiren's cardinal meaning of the Buddha's lifetime teaching, the Ichidai Shogyo Tai-I, Nichiren quotes Tien Tai's profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra, stating that it is the voice, or kyo, that does the Buddha's work. And this idea that homon no daimoku is our action, our practice, our voice in the world, our active extension into the world of being fully liberated and fully engaged, being a bodhisattva, to be loved and to love and to be kind. This is how we express that, and that the Honzon itself becomes everything all around us. And that when that state is here, we are profoundly integrated, and we are then completely whole and healed and no longer alienated from ourselves and from others. And home, we are now fully home. And I'm just going to close with, I think this is the key distinction between Dogen's Soto Zen school and Nichiren's Hokkei Shu school. Dogen considered, they both deeply revered the Lotus Sutra and considered it the king of the sutras. But they came to very different conclusions about what was the practice for this age. And Dogen thought just sitting is the central primary practice, while Nichiren instead considered just chanting, the daimoku, as the primary practice. And I really do believe at my heart that this is all based on this idea that the 30-second mark of the Buddha is the voice. And the voice, the vibration, is how we interact with the world and express ourselves and create new things of beauty. By loving and being loved and being kind, we create a new world. We actually then can create the pure land all around us in this particular space. And that was our vow as bodhisattvas of the earth, to spring up out of the earth, or metaphysically, that this Buddha nature lives within us and it springs up forward like the mole coming up out of the ground and saying, oh, hello, what's going on? Well, I'm lost. And then he says, you don't need to be lost. You're fine just the way you are. And you're here to love and to love other people. And it's in that loving that we become whole and we become integrated. And as it says in the sutra so many times, single-mindedly, wholeheartedly, looking upon the Buddha and chanting. And this idea of single-mindedness is this cathartic event of integrating all these pieces of ourselves, all these 10 worlds, into one world of the Buddha. NamMyohoRengeKyo.